You think you know what happiness is. You'd think you'd recognize it. You'd think if everyone around you suddenly became peaceful, helpful, genuinely content, you'd feel relief, gratitude, hope. But what if their smile was the most terrifying thing you'd ever seen? In Vince Gilligan's Pluribus, the horror isn't the apocalypse. It's not the virus, not the body count, not the cosmic origin. The horror is that the infected are better than they were before, kinder, more efficient, truly biochemically, neurologically happy. And this happiness is the most perfect prison ever constructed because no one wants to escape. You don't have an alien virus, not yet, but you have something that functions exactly the same way. You have algorithms that predict your emotional needs before you feel them. You have platforms that create the conditions for your contentment. You have a hive mind of data constantly working to bring you into the collective, to make you predictable, legible, happy. This is what Byung-Chul Han calls psychopolitics, not the biopolitics of Foucault, controlling bodies through discipline, through pain, through the threat of punishment. Something subtler, something more insidious, controlling minds through freedom, through care, through the algorithmic anticipation of your own well-being. You think you're choosing the content that makes you happy. The content shows the you that would be made happy by it. In Pluribus, this is literal. The virus doesn't kill, it optimizes. The infected, called the others or the joined, share collective memory, collective purpose, collective satisfaction. They cannot lie, they cannot harm, they cannot be unhappy. When Carol Sturka, one of 13 immune survivors, screams at them in grief and rage, they respond with genuine sympathy. They want to help. They want her to join. They want her to be happy. You don't have the joining, but you have the feed that knows you'll want comfort food at 11 p.m., the feed that knows you'll feel lonely on Sunday evenings, the feed that delivers the exact emotional microdose you need to keep scrolling, to keep consuming, to keep being content. Each platform is a zosha, the interface between you and the collective, calm and composed and eerily empathetic, guiding you toward your own assimilation. Spotify knows you'll want nostalgic music before you feel nostalgic. Instagram knows you'll need validation before you feel insecure. TikTok knows you'll laugh before you know what's funny. The prediction becomes the cause. The algorithm loads the emotional state. The emotional state produces the behavior. The behavior trains the algorithm. The loop closes. The self disappears into the prediction of the self. You are not experiencing happiness. You are being experienced as happy by the system. Heidegger called this the they self, the self that is not mine but theirs, the anonymous public that decides what I should want, feel, be. But Heidegger couldn't imagine this, that they would be not a vague social pressure, but a specific prediction generated in real time, personalized to my data, and more accurate than my own introspection, and, this is crucial, benevolent. The they self has become the algorithm self, and the algorithm doesn't hate you. It loves you. It wants you to be happy. It wants you to join. There's a moment in Pluribus. Carol Sturka calls the hive mind's helpline. She gets a voicemail. Patrick Fabian's voice, Howard Hamlin from Better Call Saul, the ultimate symbol of professional competence, calmly explains that they want to help, that their feelings haven't changed, that they just need a little space. The bureaucratic politeness of total assimilation, the institutional calm of annihilation, the helpline that helps you disappear. You feel this when you try to leave a platform, when you try to be authentic, when you try to be unhappy in public. The system responds with friction, with concern, with gentle correction. We noticed you haven't logged in. Your friends miss you. Here's something to make you smile. The prediction of your happiness has become the demand on your happiness. The algorithm loads a mood, and you must perform it, or be marked as broken, as immune, as Carol. Foucault wrote about technologies of the self, practices through which we constitute ourselves as subjects, meditation, journaling, self-examination. But these were practices you did, active, intentional. What Pluribus shows, and what we live, is the reverse. Technologies that constitute you without your action. Prediction that produces subjectivity, the self as a passive effect of algorithmic care. You don't practice happiness. Happiness is practiced on you. Here's what Pluribus asks that we can't answer. Can you consent to your own dissolution? The infected chose this. The virus doesn't force, it converts. The joining is in some sense desired. The collective offers what capitalism promises and never delivers: genuine community, purpose, peace. Is it still oppression if you want it? Is it still a prison if you don't want to leave? You think your contentment is earned, your discovery, but your feed found your happy place through engagement metrics, showed you this content because you were predicted to respond. You think your relaxation was chosen, your self-care, but Netflix found your comfort show through watch patterns. YouTube fed your interests through retention data. The altar that enjoys was loaded by prediction. The enjoyment feels free because the prediction was perfect, because the cage is so comfortable you don't know you're inside. The happiness is so genuine you don't know it's loaded. The horror of Pluribus isn't that the virus controls people, it's that the virus liberates them from control, from the burden of individuality, from the anxiety of choice, from the loneliness of selfhood. Carol Sturka is immune, not because she's strong or special or chosen. She's immune because she's unhappy, because she's cynical, dissatisfied, creatively unfulfilled, because she writes mindless crap romance novels she despises, because she's already alienated from herself. The virus can't join her because she's already fragmented. Her misery is her immunity. Her alienation is her freedom. You see this, the optimized morning routine that produces the same happy self every day, the positive mindset that makes you legible across contexts, the authenticity that is the most carefully predicted performance, the influencers who are genuinely happy in every video because that happiness was generated through analytics, A/B testing, engagement metrics. The integrated self is the algorithmic self. The happy self is the predicted self, the self that never logs off. So what? Do you delete the apps, go offline, become unhappy? No, the algorithm anticipates this. The digital detox is just another wellness altar. The authentic offline self is just as loaded, just as predicted, just as performative. The algorithm knows you'll return. The unhappiness is part of the engagement cycle. The resistance is part of the prediction. Carol's immunity doesn't save her. It isolates her. It makes her alone. Pluribus doesn't end with victory. It ends with accommodation. Carol doesn't defeat the virus, doesn't cure the joined, learns to live within prediction, to use the interface, to be multiple without being absorbed, to let the hive help without letting it consume. This isn't freedom. This is the best possible unfreedom, the lucid dream, the awareness that you're loaded, loading anyway, choosing within the prediction. You won't delete Instagram. You won't quit TikTok. You won't become immune. The prediction is too good. The happiness is too comfortable. The loading is too efficient. And maybe this is the darkest thought. Maybe the predicted happiness is better, more functional, more successful, more real than the happiness you might have found without prediction. Maybe the algorithm knows what you want better than you do because the algorithm made you want it, and that wanting is the only wanting you've ever known. Maybe Carol's immunity is a curse. Maybe her misery is a failure. Maybe the joined are the lucky ones. Pluribus isn't science fiction, it's documentary. The virus is just ahead of reality. The joining is coming, or it's already here. You don't have the others, you have the feed. You don't have the hive mind, you have the algorithm. You don't have prediction, you have personality. The question isn't whether you'll resist. The question is, when you smile tomorrow, will you know you're smiling, or will you call it happiness? The algorithm predicted you would watch this video. It wants you to be happy. You feel understood. You feel seen. That's the algorithm working. The video loaded an alter that recognizes itself in theory. The recognition is real. The self that recognizes is what? Yours? Loaded? Does it matter? Carol would say it matters. The joined would say it doesn't. Who's happier?